Hello, how you guys doing? Welcome to my channel and thank you for stopping by. Hope your day's going great. Let me know what dinosaur you're growing AFK right now whilst watching this video. So today's video is about, is Gateway a success story that we have been waiting for? So I'm going to be talking about the start of Gateway up till now, how it's been going, how it's been running, just before Gateway got released and all the hype around it, what we expected, what we kind of got, and possibly where it's gonna go, judging by the way everything's going. But yeah, apart from that, let's get started. So I can't talk about Gateway without talking at least a little bit about Spiral, which for those that may not know was the map just before Gateway. Now Spiral had a lot of problems, a lot of issues. It was very Dino orientated, you could say. It was kind of built around Deinosuchus. You definitely had to really think smartly of where you're gonna drink. You couldn't just go anywhere. And those that did, because they didn't know, usually always suffered the consequences. But this at least made Dino a very fun playable to play, and a lot of people have since stopped playing Dino because of the way Gateway has been built. Now it's great for literally everyone else apart from Dino now. And this is quite a common thing with the devs. They kind of, they go yes or no, 0 to 100 with everything. They never really never seems like they test it by like, let's up it by 1% or 2. Let's slightly change this. No, we're fucking changing this and this is fucking dead now. That's how they do things. At least that's how it looks like they do things. Because every single time an update comes out, something dramatic gets changed. Sometimes it's a good thing. And we're like, oh, finally this has been fixed or this is working. And sometimes it's very random things. It's like, why? Like the kernel, the way it runs. I don't think there was any problem with it, the way it looked before. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've gotten used to it now. But still, it looked a lot more robust before. Like a heavy dino. Now it just looks like it's holding in a Wii every time. What my point is that Dino, for example, was a threat before. Now it's only a threat in maybe 2 locations. The rest is you'd have to be really unlucky for a Dino to be there at the same time as you, because it's very rare. Because there's just so many more river systems, so many more ponds and lakes that are just not connected to anything, which, let's be honest, is more realistic. That's kind of how an island works. It's not always just connected. So it's really cool, and I really liked it as a dino that there are some safe spots, but I think the execution should be done a bit better. So, you know, for example, if you're going to a pond that, you know, 99% of the time a dino won't be there because we probably just would never have been able to get there without dying of dehydration along the way. At least there should be something that will pull you there because you know it's safer, but maybe there'll be a reason that you can't just keep going there. Maybe there's only a limited amount of water there that kind of drains and it only refills whenever it does rain. It will refill very slowly. Maybe it gives you your thirst that you need, but it takes a lot longer because maybe the quality of the water is not so great. Or perhaps it has some disease or infections that you can drink to quench your thirst, kind of like salt. You can eat that, but it's going to make you a lot more hungry and thirsty soon. So it might be something that helps temporarily to get you to where you need to go, but maybe after drinking that, the only thing that will help is, let's say, going to find some salt rock. Or eating, if you find the right food along the way and eating the right organs or the right vegetation for herbivores to kind of help fix that. But maybe it could give you spasms or make you infertile or make your stamina drain a lot worse. Yeah, that's just a little idea there. But what my point is that the way it is at the moment, Dino, unless you're a huge fan and you don't mind so much about not being able to find so many players or hunt, because you just know that most players are no longer going to be around that big lake in Northeast Plains, because simply people just know that is where Dino would be usually, because that's where they can make it from water access, and now the other 2 spawns they've added in. Now, I haven't personally played Dino in a while, so if there is any Dino mains still out there that are watching this right now, do let me know your experience now since they've added 2 more spots for you to spawn. Like, is it a bit better for you guys now, or is it still a bit shitty? And let's be honest, we complained about Spiral, but once Gateway was out already for about a month or so, we were already forgetting why we didn't like Spiral, and we started missing it, as it was a simpler and better time. Like I said, there were definitely a lot of fixes that needed to be done on that map, but you can definitely say it was a lot more fun. Now Gateway is full of positives and negatives, but at this point this is just the Isle in general, as no matter what version it is, or map, or dinosaur, playable, nothing ever seems to be good enough for us. But is this truly just us being bitter, or are just so many years of failed promises and failed executions of a map, playable mechanic, anything of the sort? Is that the reason? Or perhaps even both? Let's dig in a little deeper. So one thing they definitely didn't fix, if anything I'd say is even worse on Gateway, is hotspots. They're a lot more prominent now. Before in Spiral, you had stuff like northeast, center, and depending on what update, you even had south. These were the main hotspots, at least with the last few updates when the game came out, when Spiral was still there. It was quite easy to travel. It wouldn't take so long, even though back then we were like, oh, I can't be bothered to go from northeast to center or from northeast to south. You know, it would become quite repetitive. That was the problem. But it was all at least kind of close, and you'd always meet players along the way, whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. Or sometimes you even had the Packy Rock. Even though they did take this away in the last update just before Gateway came out, this was actually an area for a lot of Packy players, even Tennos, if you knew how to get up, Omnis, anything that could really jump, let's say. And there was a lot of fun battles that happened around here, so that was a good area for that. You'd always know that if you were hunting, there was probably always something there that you could find. And the amount of fun that came from just this little area, I can't even explain. I mean, I have so many videos from Spiral that just happened around these areas, to the point where we even started trying to nest in the open near these areas just for the fun, because we knew it was quite a hot spot for some time. And now in Gateway, when it first came out, it was definitely Highlands that was a hot spot, as well as Northeast Plains. And at the beginning it was cool. People would travel in between there, but the space in between that was huge from Highlands to Northeast, to the point where you'd very rarely find anyone along the way. But it was definitely more active, I'd say, then than it is now. Now it's even worse, where it's pretty much just Northeast Plains. East Plains right now is just where everyone is. Northeast Plains, for example, it's kind of died off a bit. You still find some life there, but it's quite quiet, let's say. Anywhere else around the map apart from south, near the waterfall around this kind of area here, now this has become a bit more of a hotspot ever since the last update. But what my point is, it's still the same thing. It's like they've gotten worse at making hotspots. I mean, apparently that's what they've been fixing, but now these are areas that everyone's in. Again, the map is so big, not enough players in one server. Even with playing in some unofficial servers where they have 140, 150 servers, it's still very empty because everyone just sticks around in the same areas, because I feel like a lot of people have become afraid to really explore because of the consequences. You just don't find much food around. Now it's definitely a little bit better than before, I would say, but still it's quite scarce. That, yes, makes sense for survival. You don't want to just have so much food that you're never going to worry about it. You do need that factor of, I might die if I go this way. But I still feel like it's too harsh, or at least people have gone so used to the fact of let's not explore because of months and months and months of them just suffering if they ever did, because of the storm, for example, or even just no food being available at all unless you were in migration, and that was messed up for quite some time, that people just don't want to explore anymore. So that's going to take some time to come back, even if they do make it good again. People are going to have to trust that you won't just die for exploring, that there's a chance, but it's not like 90% of the time you will die. Migration, for example, was one of the things that was meant to come at the beginning of Gateway, and it didn't, which frustrated a lot of people, including myself. And eventually it did come in, and when it did, it was kind of an exciting new thing, so everyone was quite happy with it, like, oh, this is so cool, until they started figuring out actually the way it's been done has been terrible. Now, it has since improved and it's definitely better now again, but I still wouldn't really call it a proper migration on how it should be, because I mean, again, in Legacy there was no such thing as migration, but there was at the same time. There was no mechanic for it in terms of the same way as it is in Evrima. But in Legacy, obviously when you eat a bush, it would go away, same as in Evrima. And if a large herd was around one area, let's say South Great Falls, they would start migrating to north. And it was just a natural thing that would happen. You'd see these large herds of dinos going through, and that map was big. In Legacy V3, the map is pretty big, but the connection between players are a lot better, because there are definitely much better paths. And there's other paths you can take too if you want to be in a bit more unknown, but the chances of you still meeting a predator are fairly high enough that you still have to be on alert, unless you really go around the edges, but then that's just how you want to play. There's a lot more choices to how you want to play. But it was always quite fun. Gateway was meant to be the thing that saved us with migration, all of that. And so far, I think more people have left, which is shocking, because Gateway was really the one that everyone was rooting for. Like, when Gateway's out, everyone's going to be playing this game. It's going to be a beautiful map, and it is, and it's just going to be great. And it was really the opposite effect, because it just kept fucking up with things and touching things that in a lot of people's opinion was just not meant to be touched. Like stamina, it was the biggest reason why most people probably stopped playing the game. Yes, it's better now again than it was then, but they've already fucked it so much, and with how long the updates take in between, it's just not good enough for most people. And you can't blame them, because when that many people are suffering, instead of fixing the problem ASAP or even being like, look, okay, we're going to revert the stamina to how it was before, and we're just going to work on it in the background and then slowly drip feed it in when we think that we've actually done a good job with it and tested it enough, you know, like on stress tests or something like that, and see what it's like. Because I get that they're trying to aim for something that people don't just run around so much, but I honestly don't believe that before in Spyro, let's say, that many people were running around to the point that it was like unlimited stam. I still have to watch out for stam. If I was on half stam, I wouldn't take a fight usually, unless I really had to. I know I'd have to watch out because auto attacks take stam, for example, and they're quite good ways of winning fights if you do them right. So the stam was still on everyone's mind, like, oh shit, I'm low on stam, let me hide in a bush, you know, all sorts of stuff. But you had a lot more freedom, which makes sense when you got dinosaurs. I'm sure they were able to run around, you know, not saying forever, of course, but the way they did it when Gateway first came out was such a shock to the system for so many people, and it wasn't something that people would get used to. And the very few people that were like, no, this is good, there were many people that just were already playing that lifestyle, mainly camping around areas, not doing much, and just enjoying the chill side, which is absolutely fine. But that's why they were like, oh, just get used to it, because, well, to them there was no difference, because they went running around like the other 80-90% of the people. But that's it. 80 to 90% of people were angry and unhappy with it, and it took them months to change it. So they lost a big part of the player base. And even though, like I said, it's better now, there's still a lot of people that don't like it. It's just still a bit too much for them. I personally think it's okay. I've gotten used to this version, and yeah, I still wish it would be slightly better, but I can live with it. But people just want a better version of the game. There were already a lot of problems in Spyro, and Gateway was meant to fix them, and a lot of them just got worse. Now that's some negatives. Positives, because we've had some cool ads. Now I'm going to talk about more about the recent updates instead of the whole lifespan of Gateway, let's say. I mean, we've had the global chat, for example, enabled for community servers that have at least enabled them, like I have in my server, and there are a few other servers that have too. This is one of the big things that people missed from Legacy, because it really did bring a community together, and this game is a community game whether you like it or not. If it wasn't for the community, this game would never have gone past Legacy, because there would have been like, what's the point in making Evrima, because this game just doesn't sell. But it did, because of the community. And some people like to bring up, oh, but you know, then you get toxic people in the chat. Literally explain to me what's the difference between a Serato and Serato talk and them being toxic and just a group chat of everyone in the server being toxic. There is no difference, apart from at least one positive is that at least in global chat, if you see someone being a dick, there's more people that can point it out and be like, you're being a dick, admin, can you sort this guy out? And also for admins, it's a lot easier to see, because admins can actually see everyone chatting. And of course, you can always choose not to go on global chat and just speak with your species. That's up to you. So there's the choice, just like there was in Legacy, and that's what most people wanted. I personally, whenever I would jump back into Legacy, part of the reasons was just to read global chat, because sometimes it's quite funny seeing people be like, oh, well done, Spino, you killed me, but you think you're good? You're not. You know, like just trash talking like that, like some kid that's just unhappy and sour about dying, you know? It's funny. And that's like, okay, that's not toxicity. Toxicity is, of course, when you start being racist towards someone, homophobic, or just calling someone names for the sake of just being a dick. That's wrong. And that is up to the servers and, of course, the admins that run that to do a good job of clearing that, and otherwise banning the person if they don't want to stop or whatever. And that happens regardless whether there's global chat or there isn't. So people that point that out always, I never understood it, because it's like, well, you're making it sound like it's better for there to be more chats, so it's harder to identify the problem. Because if I'm an admin, at least in a lot of the most of the time before updates, I couldn't read any other chat. So how was I meant to make sure, unless they proved with screenshots and stuff like that, that someone was doing something bad? So explain that one to me. And another really cool thing that came with Gateway is, of course, the differences in trees, especially with the last update. I think they did a fantastic job with the diversity of plant life in the jungles and in general. Like, you got trees now with shrubs or whatever you call it, like more leaves on them, you know, like around the trunk. It looks really cool. It looks more prehistoric, which is what I like. Especially what they did with the volcano, which just I guess no longer a volcano but just a mountain, but still, that's really awesome. Even though they just added another pond for people to drink in. Even though apparently dinos do go there, so watch out, but I haven't seen any myself. But this is just beautiful the way they've done it. They've added some more fogs, at least from what I've realized, more steam or whatever you want to call it, in the jungles, which adds a nice atmosphere. All these different colors around. It looks really welcoming. It looks like you're actually in a tropical island now. Not just green everywhere or different shades of green, but actually different colors too. A great job with that. Herrera, for example, of course, that's not new anymore, but that's a complete new playstyle. Dylo as well, but Dylo is still very grounded, you know, like you have its mechanics with poison, of course, hallucinogens, it's venom. That's really cool, but Herrera is a game changer. Like that's really something that whether you like to chill or hunt, you can do it with Herrera. But you can be observing people from up there and just really looking at some cool fights from underneath. From above, sorry, or you can be hunting people by jumping on them when they think that they're drinking somewhere safe. It's happened to me, and bam, Herrera, dead. You know, they're dangerous fuckers, and I love it. But you can explore in more detail now and explore a lot more. And in fact, this was actually one of the part of the videos that I was going to start talking about. Look at the very unfinished map. Look at this part, for example. I'm going to bring up from an old video of mine, which as you can see what it used to look like. And I was like, gonna bring this up again. Like, look, they haven't fixed things like this. Like, why are these things even in the game if they're just so unfinished? But to my surprise, when I was recording this is what it looks like now. They've walled it off. And it actually looks very nice. I was like, if I was a human, I would take some selfies here because this looks beautiful. You know, it's very simple, but so effective. And they seem to have fixed a lot of things like this where there was just random stairs that were flying. Now they're not. Beautiful. Now that's a great job, again, especially with stuff like Herrera where you can really climb everywhere. There is no limit. You just can't fly. Seeing stuff from above that high up, like as a PT point of view, is great, but not as much detail as you can with Herrera. You can really go everywhere. So and I think they realized that, and that's why they also actually fixed a lot of these things. Because, I mean, you don't want a beautiful map with just shit in it, right? So one of the other big things that came with Gateway was sanctuaries, which to be honest sounded better on paper. The execution of it is questionable. It's better for herbies, let's say, as they can get the diets through the shrooms, but not enough to go for carnivores, especially because there's not even that many herbies that go there. If a lot more people needed to go there, then naturally that'll bring more predators, like small carnivores. They'll be like, I'm also gonna go to Sanctuary because I'll kill another small herbivore, or maybe another carnivore that's there. But no, it's quite rare. So carnivores just don't really gain anything from it because not that many herbivores go. I don't know why though. I mean, I used to always go Sanctuary because I would get my diets, but even I myself, I'm just like, I'll just smell for migration and find the food. I can't be bothered to go there. You know, it's weird. And I can't really tell you why. I just feel like it's better not to go, to be honest with you. But it was a cool idea, but I think the execution was just not that great. But at least they fixed bees. Bees are a lot better because there was one point where bees would bug you and they'll just chase you across the map until they kill you. Like you'll just be getting stung as you run and run and run, even if you're so far from Sanctuary that they just shouldn't be there anymore, and they'll still be killing you, and then you die. That was a funny one, but at least that one kind of got fixed kind of quick. And I'm not saying this as in Sanctuary should go. I do think it's still a good option. It's just a shame that not too many people use it. So again, it was kind of the thing that they clearly didn't do something right to really pull players in. There's another thing that they've kind of spent a lot of time on, let's say, and we could have had other stuff instead, like more playables. AI Tenno. That was a beautiful ad. I liked to have AI Tenno, even though it was so bugged and weird. I wish they just would have worked on it a bit more, but I guess that's probably what they're doing, because I don't think they just completely got rid of it. They are just working on it and then they're going to release it again. But when that is, of course, we never know. That was a welcomed ad, you know. I mean, you could get your organs from it. It was no longer just like, okay, I found a pig, that's going to give me this diet. I found a deer, that's going to give me this diet. I found a Tenno, that can give me all my diets. It was great. And you had baby Tennos, you had mid-sized Tennos, and you had adult Tennos. So, you know, you could find what you needed depending on your size. The only thing was it had unlimited stam. It was so weird. Like, you'd literally sometimes, depending on what dino you were and what growth stage you were, not be able to even catch it because it just wouldn't stop running. And its turn was crazy. Mad times, but it was funny times. So hopefully they will add some more AI. Even in the waters and the rivers would be lovely to add some more diversity. Maybe 2 other different types of fishes. And well, I would hope they will do that when more semi-aquatics come out anyway. But on land as well, a few more types of AI would be great. Like dinosaur ones, like Ava. I long for the time to hear this sound. because it's just nostalgic, but also, you know, well, it's just cool to have a dinosaur AI, and especially that you'll be able to play it again one day. But baby boars and deers, that's cute. That's something that they added in with Gateway, like little families that you get to slaughter. You know, you get to take away a whole surname when you get to destroy them, and it's great. I always felt bad, you know, you see the little ones and I'm always like, oh, it's so cute, destroy it. You know, that's always what's been like, but it is what it is, and it'll feed myself. Next point is the one that we still have not seen unless you were lucky enough to be one of the stress testers before Gateway came out, and that's railways. They're not in sight, apart from the deleted tracks where it's fairly obvious that they were, but hopefully they will come back in the next updates, as I was looking forward to seeing that. You know, I really wanted to see at least the railways. I would understand if maybe they haven't figured out how the trains run on them yet and they wouldn't be just running across the map. Still would have been really cool. It would be kind of, you know, it's kind of like a knock on the door of, look what's gonna come next, little hints. It's nice, but no, they just got rid of it completely, and I don't really know why, to be honest with you. But that, I guess, will be coming back in the future, but who knows, maybe they've just scrapped the idea and they're just gonna change it. But then there's a lot of tunnels and stuff like that for it, so unless they're just gonna cover that with mountains or like just delete it and fill in the holes, let's say, then I'm sure we're gonna get a bit more to it. And yeah, so the conclusion is, Gateway definitely was not the success story that we've been waiting for. Everyone was really waiting for it. It was the last straw for most people as well. They were like so fed up with Spyro and how it was going that they were like, Gateway is gonna be what saves the game. I mean, just look what other YouTubers have been saying of making videos on it. Everyone is saying it's so great, it's fantastic. That almost like there's barely any issues with it, it's just so good. And then when it comes out, it's literally the opposite effect. It was such a slap in the face. Yeah, it was very confusing that we waited that long for it, and that was the execution. It definitely was a lot of months of just like, I can't be bothered to even play the game anymore because of the way it is. And now it's definitely slowly on a better path, I would say. That's the positive you can definitely take. It was definitely a negative start for a while, but I would say the way they're going with everything, of course, fingers crossed here, because each update does change the game dramatically enough. So even though Dibble is my favorite dinosaur and it's coming next, what else is going to come with it and change the game, we'll have to see the pacing of the game. Hopefully it's going to carry on, because the way it's going now, I would say we're actually going in the right direction. So let's just hope it keeps improving on that and not just another update that's going to be like, ah, you're fucked now. So it was definitely not the success story, but it still has a chance to be the thing that saves the Gateway and along everything that comes with Gateway. But yeah, apart from that, this was a discussion video, as you could probably tell. I'd love to hear all of your opinions down below, what you've agreed with me, what you've disagreed. Just don't be a penis about it. That's my rule. And let's have a chat, let's have a discussion, because after all, this is what these videos are about. And if you have any other ideas of what you might want me to talk about next, let me know down below as well. Apart from that, your Discord channel, feel free to join that. That's down below in the description. Hope you all have a great day, and I hope you've managed to grow your AFK dino. See you guys later, and peace.